Dan Churchill, welcome to the podcast.
Mate, so honoured to be here, dude.
First of all, tell me about your day.
this thing? Mate, we had training camp up in Malibu with Hunter and Jake Williamson and all going to plan. Easy 75 minutes in the trails and then, classic me, rolled the ankle and here we are.
It's looking hefty.
It is, mate. It is a patchwork job and we're meant to have Phoenix next week. So I don't know if I'm going to be racing, to be honest, but we'll heal it up. You know, I said in 2025, I had a lot of speed bumps with the injuries. Obviously not ideal to have this now in 2026, but adversity breeds, good challenges for you to learn from.
Of course. And considering you're on crutches there, maybe you're not competing next week, but what you have got next week is you're going to be chefing up.
I am, mate. I'm actually going to be making sure you're flipping burgers with me in Phoenix with Centre. It's going to be fun, dude.
There we go. So if anyone doesn't know, Dan is the biggest fitness chef in the world. Genuinely, you are. You're not only that, you're an insane athlete. You've run marathons. You've done Hyroxes. You're chasing some pretty hefty goals. What are you chasing at the moment? What are the goals like if we put numbers on them?
Yeah, so put numbers on them. We're always going to be working towards a sub 60 Indo Pro for Hyrox.
Yep.
So for me, I've got Worlds with Eric Inman doubles in Sweden. But leading into that, my hope was to work my way down to like a sub 60. So Q1 and Q2 is that, and then Q3 and Q4 is all Ironman focus. So athletically, I think Hyrox to, first 6 months and then second 6 months is all around Ironman.
Insane. And have you got an Ironman booked in?
Yeah, we're doing Panama City, which is like the week after the New York City Marathon, which is always going to be an interesting one because I think you guys know, like New York City Marathon, you've run it, it's unbelievable.
So are you running New York City Marathon?
I run it every single year.
Right, so, and it's going to be the week after, did you say?
The week before.
Week before? All right, okay. That's
so
not too bad.
I either forego for the first time in like 8 years running the New York City Marathon, which is the smart thing to do, to run the Ironman, or I just, savage and double down. But to be honest, I probably will lean towards doing...
Let's face it, you're going to double down. You're going to do both. That's just the type of guy you are.
Yeah.
That's cool. And if it doesn't play off, it makes for great content.
It makes for great content, mate. One hell of a story, we always say, yeah.
So I want to start with, where did the food obsession, I'd probably say, start?
Mate, it's crazy to think this, but I'd probably lie on my fact that I've got two brothers. I'm the middle of three. And poor mum had to feed 3 rugby player, boys in Australia. And then dad was just like, this isn't going to work. And, after watching Jamie Oliver like every Sunday night, he realized that we were just, for some reason, glued to the screen about learning cooking. So he put together
All 5
of us, mum, dad. It was honestly the one thing we all did every Sunday was watch Jamie. It's sick, dude.
What was the show?
The Naked Chef.
Right, okay.
So remember his original one where he was cooking to a story producer in his kitchen? Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, man.
It's on my time, that thing.
It was like his OG. You probably went live. It was like his OG show. And it just made me really realize I loved the family orientation around food. Like we got my family together, but then I just loved cooking. And so, from that, cooked multiple meals a week with the timetable put together. And then, growing up playing rugby, I was just always interested in health and fitness and being active and performing. So I kind of didn't go down the route of a professional career in chefing yet. I actually went down the route of exercise science post high school, but I'd always had a passion for still cooking at home, even if it was basic home cooked meals. Like it was always fascinating.
Would you cook for the family?
Yeah.
Would you be the main one?
Take
control?
100%. So like mum and dad got to the point where dad was working, so he'd cook and he loved to cook, but he only cooked like 1 or 2 meals a week. And we were tasked to cook at least once a week as the brothers were, but I ended up doing 3 because I just loved it so much. And, whether it be following a recipe or learning a cuisine or understanding an ingredient or a technique. And don't get me wrong, like first First time starting out, like tying a shoelace, I sucked. Like I was terrible. And mum and dad would just be like, this is great. Realizing this is like when I'm 11 years old. And they, it was terrible. But through consistency and like what I always say is like cook the same meal over and over again to get better at it. Yeah, man, turn into like the best blessing in disguise for mum and dad because they had 1 or 2 or even 3 less nights a week they had to cook for the family.
That's sick. When you was a teenager, what was your go-to meal? What if you could like blow us away with a meal? What was that meal that you perfected?
So like I say this and it sounds like okay, but there's a romance and technical prowess to a spaghetti bolognese that I have cooked like thousands and thousands of times to understand that would be the meal to impress. Not because it's the most lavish meal. I can do some obviously amazing things now being a professional chef. But back in the day, one, it was sentimental because it was the first thing my family and I like were consistently critiquing of mine. But 2, it was the one that really made me fall in love with cooking consistently because Italians are romance with love. They love cooking. They live to eat. And I fell in love with that. And, if you were to say, what's the most technical thing you would do? It'd probably make a sweet potato gnocchi with a certain brown butter sauce and some porcini mushrooms and things like that. That would be amazing. But I still go back to my spaghetti bolognese, which is like there is some technique to it. It's not just slap it all in a pot. I can say
I was actually going to ask that. So just on like a little side note, how much is perfecting a meal down to the ingredients and how much is it down to actually how it's made?
Ooh, this is great. It's kind of like, look, I can give you and I the same ingredients, and that's important because if I had worse ingredients than you, say I had the same ingredients but like less quality, that is going to affect the meal. Yeah. But if we had the same ingredients, you can cook something down for longer, so remove more moisture. You can give more surface area to, say, a protein to get it more of the Maillard, which is deeper roasting flavors. You can balance with seasoning, so salt, pepper, learning to add acid at the right time or sweetness at the right time. And that's all stuff that you learn as you go from adding more reps in. So I would say like, with a spaghetti bolognese, most people maybe cook the onion, add the garlic, and like it's less about being really intentional at the moment. For me, it's like I add garlic on a low heat, then gradually add olive oil. Because what that does is, one, it removes the moisture from the garlic without any form of moisture in it first, because it's just a dry pan. But then what you do is you add the oil gradually. Not are you frying garlic in oil and then it permeates only a small amount. It actually allows the oil to naturally evolve in that flavor of the oil as it grows. Then you add your onion, keeping a really low heat, and allows this beautiful sweetness to be created by the caramelization before adding in your beef. Same process, really grounding it up until you have just the beautiful golden edges and so on and so forth. Like the intentionality behind the process with the same ingredients can lead to vastly different results.
I'm drooling. You know how to sweet talk me.
Mate, how's your spag bowl?
I think I've not made spag bowl since I had to make it in GCSEs at school.
Okay.
I think so. We had cooking lessons, food tech, whatever.
Yeah.
Between the ages of 11 and 13, where it was like forced.
Yes.
And then you either chose to do it and go on with it or didn't. I did sport instead, and I think one of the last meals was like the finale.
Okay, that was it. Bring it home. So what would you do today if I came round? You're like, "Man, I'm cooking you dinner. What are you making me?"
I know it's basic, but I think I'd do steak. But I think again, because you cook it all the time, because I cook it all the time, and you'll probably argue this, but steak is one of the simpler dishes. Mm-hmm. It's not got much skill. You've just got to be good at timing, in my opinion.
Yes. It requires a bit of dedication to a basic skill. Yeah. That's all it is.
And then you've just got certain rules that you've got to do. For example, and I've been doing my research. So how I do my research with food, I just did a marathon block, but I was heavily dieting for it. Mm. And I was doing a lot of cross training on the bike. And when I was cross training, I normally watch YouTubes, and I normally watch your YouTubes, motivational stuff, but I was on the bike so much, I'd finished everyone's YouTubes, and because I was so hungry, I just got obsessed with food videos. So it's like how to perfect a steak, how to cook the best chicken. FYI, cooking the best chicken. A lot of people poach chicken, which I find crazy.
Wow.
For the best chicken breast.
Wow.
But anyway, that's what I learned, by the way. But like simple rules with steak I've come across is don't pepper it before it goes into the pan because pepper burns. Mm-hmm. So you just want to salt, and then if you want to pepper, you pepper after, mm-hmm. or pepper when it's on a lower heat. You gradually as well, like you don't season with garlic beforehand because of the same reason. You kind of add the garlic in on the side, mm-hmm. Thyme in on the side, stuff like that. But I think I can do all right. Obviously not to the standard of you, because I've witnessed you cook a steak and it's incredible.
Oh, yeah,
the crust.
But.
Bro, it was unfair rules. So I just want to clear this up. Nick Bear and Dan Churchill had a steak off, and I got brought in to judge. At the time, I ate steak, but I wasn't a steak connoisseur, and I was under a lot of pressure. I basically got blindfolded, and I had to try these two steaks and say which one was better. Nick had a barbecue. He had his own wood. He had his own for flavouring, everything. He was using a thermometer that he could stick in and check the temperature.
Nick cheated.
Apparently cheating, according to Dan. And Dan did it properly inside on a pan. And when I tried them, I was literally blindfolded. I tried them. I picked Nick's. We were in Nick's facility at this time as well. So I'm just saying that, like, you know, I was sweetening the deal. I wasn't an athlete with BP and either at that time.
No, you
so
had
I
to
was
be
just
careful.
potentially sweetening the deal.
It's fair. Very strategic.
But looking back, Nick's steak, it was meant to be medium rare, and it was medium. And the conclusion we came to was I actually like medium steak over medium rare.
Well, I'm glad it's out there. Good on you for owning it, my guy. Now, Jake's a good sport with the whole thing. That was a funny day, bro. That was a funny day. That got me really excited for what your future held, particularly with obviously the team.
Yeah, no, it's cool, and we've not looked back since. Obviously, we've met up quite a few times since us. But I'm really fascinated with cooking. I want to get better. I'm someone who wants to be able to cook really nice meals, especially when you're in fitness, because you do so much eating and you do so much cooking yourself. Because again, when you want to be so on it and like you want to stay on track, you want to know exactly what's going into your food. So my next question to you would be, and we struggle with this a little bit, and when I do my research, when you're going to a restaurant, I feel like they love butter, mm-hmm. they love oils, they love everything. And for someone if you are counting your calories, like how do you get around that? Do you just face that's because that's what makes it taste nice? So when you go to a nice restaurant, it's gonna taste nice, but the reason it's tasting nice is because they're excellent chefs, but they're also using a lot of fat and a lot of salt and a lot of things that have high calories. Yeah,
dude. Like if you go into a restaurant kitchen, you'll find they've got these buckets, not buckets, but like these essentially these little hotel pans that contain like all these cubes of butter. And depending particularly on the cuisine, you know, French, maybe even Italian, your palate is just drawn to love the combination of fat and salt. You know, fat, salt, acid, you know, and even a bit of sweetness to depending on the degree. And we play into that as chefs. Like we are known to like, okay, finish things off in certain ways to just really accent that sensation on the palate. Because fat coats the mouth. And so then it primes everything else that's coming. It's like this beautiful, like, you know, like when you have something fatty, it's like around the mouth. It's like fully expressed. It's like every sense is genuinely hit on. And that's just naturally from like the way we finish sauces and things like
But
that.
your aim is to make this food as addictive as possible
100%.
and as nice as possible.
100%. So when I now look at food and I've seen this and like grown up with this in the restaurants, it's like, how do I get the same feeling, same sensation without the traditional means, like without the additions of shit amounts of butter and like high amounts of salt and, you know, the what we've been conditioned to love now, like changing that palate. And that's the challenge I'm facing with. Like, it's like when I season food, I'm liberal with acidity, which is a much better version of using salt and fat, right? But if I go too much with acidity, I go one way with the food. So yeah, I guess in traditional sense, like when you come into a restaurant, you're paying for a dish, we want it to taste delicious. So most restaurants, particularly in the French and Italian cuisine, will include butter to finish off the sauce and obviously high amounts of salt. It's just natural.
Interesting. And like you say, it's quite a challenge to replicate that at home, especially when you don't realize you're putting that much amounts of butter in and you're on a healthy diet and you're trying to do that. But one thing that I love about you is you still cook with butter. You cook with less butter, but you don't kind of say that's a bad food. I feel like, I don't know if this is true, but you don't really have bad foods. Like, do you deem any food as bad unless it's ultra processed and you've got trans fats in there? Are you looking at any food thinking that is not going in my dish?
Yeah, dude, I'm really glad you picked up on that. I feel that in what I do, one, lead by example, but two, like not to really alienate people and or food for that matter. I steer clear of fried foods in particular, so I don't really do that.
If you was to fry food, would you do it in a healthy way?
Yeah, there's certain oils now which are seed oil free and done really ethically that can be fried at high smoke points, which are great. Like you can still use those, and obviously, you know, you're making for example a chicken schnitzel or like a palmy or something like that. You can make that dish in a much better version because the oil it's being cooked at a high heat is much better for you and the environment.
What kind of oils would you be looking at? Would it be like a pure olive oil, or would it be like, I've heard avocado oil? I don't know.
Yeah, avocado's decent. You get an astringent flavor. It's also expensive. There's certain there's one like you can get seaweed oil like coming out, which is really, really good. Yeah, like a lot of the restaurants use it. There's two companies. One's like 0 Acre Farms. They have a really good oil that is now at food service level where a lot of restaurants are using their oil to fry food. So 0 Acre Farms one. There's also another one here in LA. For the life of me, top of my head, it's off. But they're more of a at home product, a little bit more expensive. But you essentially you can get an extra virgin olive oil if you get a high quality one, which is great. It's got less exposure to compounds, and they're the things that oxidize at a high heat. So if you get a good quality, I'm not talking about like paying astronomical amounts, but if you get a good quality extra virgin olive oil, you can cook it at high heat, and in doing so, it will not oxidize, which means it won't, you know, get the chemicals that we have previously thought were actually bad for us. So like a Cobra Estate, which is a great one, fantastic olive oil to get, extra virgin, fry in that. So like if I'm frying, which I rarely do, I do lean into those types. And then when I'm cooking, yeah, like I've recognized that for every like when I cook with even restaurants or at home, you don't need the amount of fat they're putting into the food. So I love cooking with butter. I love a grass-fed butter. Like obviously I still need the amount of work you and I put in. Like we need to have the calories to support our needs, the fat, the grass-fed fat. So I think my job is to one, like cook with what I believe is the best thing for everybody, which is whole foods first, and then show simple means and choices that you can make to support yourself. So yeah, it's the right seed oil free oils. It is the extra virgin olive oils. It's the grass-fed butters, and then just doing so in the right amounts, the right moderations.
Going back to the cooking with oils.
Yeah.
Would you ever recommend cooking with butter? I know it sounds like it's an animal fat. It's when obviously it burns, but does it become toxic when like some of the oils do? Do you know? Do the compounds change?
Yeah. I love cooking butter. I absolutely love it.
So like, as in like frying with, not frying, but like say if you've got eggs,
Yeah.
using butter instead of your oil.
100%. Like I'll use if I'm going to try and get a certain type of effect in my scrambled eggs, I'll 100% use some butter. And so what I look for is like perfect case. Like you don't want to get to the point where the butter is burning, and that's just learning to control your heat. A lot of people have this problem of like the two extremities of cooking. You either have the temperature off or you have it on high heat. There's never that's you. It's never something in between, right? So I always say like you should start with like a medium high heat. So if like the dial was 0 to 12 as a clock, medium high is like a 7, 8, 9. So like learn to be a little bit more patient and control your heat. With butter, like if you add butter to a pan, as it starts to bubble is the perfect time to generally add something, particularly eggs. So, I love cooking with that. Does it get to a point where like, if you burn it too much, it's going to start to get bitter and oxidize in a bad way. But it's actually more of a case for the flavor than it is the health effects. But you obviously still can have detrimental effects if you continue to burn something so much. So the key things are medium high heat, let it bubble, and then add in your scrambled eggs.
Okay. And then this is one for me.
Personal one.
Pans.
Yeah.
Non-stick pans. Obviously, they're like the demons at the moment. Mm-hmm. Is that actually true, or is it bullshit? Like, is a good non-stick pan okay, or do we need to have basic? Because it just makes it cooking with less oil easier.
Totally. I think there's a lot of problems out there when it comes to the media and like things to be said, and then all of a sudden someone takes it and then explodes it on something because it's great clickbait. Look, obviously there's a lot of mass-produced pans that are non-stick that are not good for you. But if you look into the labelings of a lot of products, you can see that the people using like the cheap stuff obviously is not ideal for your health. Like if you're going to start cooking with certain things like that, they're exposed to like not BPNs or anything like that, but not oh my God.
I know what you mean.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I say BPN because it's just the top of my tongue.
Yeah, just obsessed with BPN.
Essentially, BPA, apologies.
BPAs.
So the stuff that we don't want to have is only typically in the cheap product. Non-stick pans can have detrimental effects if they are, I've seen, in a cheap state. But you can also I always say invest in one good pan that you should use universally. At like our level, you don't have to have a full suite of things. One product, there's a company called Hexclad that does there's a company called Heston that does a really good job of creating a really solid pan that is great for individuals of product, sturdy, easy to wash. And like that's just, you need to invest in good things like that so that you can take care of. But non-stick is something that if you choose the wrong product, it can be detrimental. If it's a good quality one, you're typically fine.
Okay.
Do you work with non-stick?
I work with non-stick.
Yeah.
It's
easy.
just it's so much
Convenient.
easier. It's so much easier to clean. It's so much, and the only thing that I do is I don't mix anything with a fork.
Yeah.
Or anything with a metal end, like apart from like a whisk that's not got sharp ends. Like I'll just use the plastic.
Totally.
Thing is what mixers, whatever they call it.
Yeah, spatula.
Spatula.
That's a great point. Like typically what happens is, particularly on the cheaper side, is when you start scraping the pan with something metallic, which exposes underneath, like that's the problem. So, keep it, use a spatula, a plastic spatula or wooden spoon. Try to refrain from anything metallic that's going to scrape the pan and also ruin it and prevent the non-stick as well.
Okay. That was a big tangent. We'll go back onto, so your story about obviously growing up. Yeah. You was the guy that cooked in your household. Mm-hmm. What happened when you moved out?
Yeah, so I moved to like a few suburbs down the way. I was doing my master's degree. I was a strength conditioning coach, and I registered that like athletes, despite what I thought they were getting the best advice at the time, this is quite a while ago, they just didn't understand what nutritionists were saying to them. Like they'd tell them what to eat in numbers, but they didn't know what that meant practically. I knew what it meant both nutritionally, numbers wise, and practically, because I cook, but also learnt the research based on the master's degree that I did. And so I started to put these recipes together, and that essentially these players would go take it home, cook for their friends, and come back and say, I did a great job. I'm like, awesome, repeat, adhere to. The team actually ended up doing really well and won the premiership. But I don't think it's went down to the nutrition solely. You can put it that much. But the camaraderie around that was really interesting because we saw like the athletes get really competitive with each other. I started to look into why people don't cook, like why athletes don't cook, or why they don't look at their nutrition properly. And it just came down to finding it was intimidating. So then I started creating a book that was unintimidating called The Dude Food, which was empowering the modern man. And it got guys cooking more. And that was awesome. It also taught me a lot about myself when it comes to like self-publishing a cookbook and business and selling and operations. But I realized that like all along, since I was 11 years old, cooking for the first time, like my passion was in food. It really was like how I can really make an impact and leave a legacy in this world. And so what I did was I pursued the book route. I started building out fundamental basic content on a website. I then realized, well, if I'm going to do this, I need to jump into kitchens and actually learn. So, after training, I'd go work in restaurants for free and started working my way up, like learning the basics of washing pans to mise en place and prep and knife skills, etc.
When you did this, did you go to any restaurant, or was it like the nicest restaurants in your neighborhood?
Yeah, just ones that were like, I initially did what's called a stage. I did a stage at a really nice catering restaurant.
What is a stage? Sorry.
Stage is where you go and you just work for free, observe, and maybe do a few things. So like you could go, a lot of chefs who are really good still stage. They'll go to New York from, say, I don't know, Netherlands, and go, I want to stage in 11 Madison for a week. And you work for free. And all you do is observe and maybe help. And from that, you learn so much. Sometimes it turns into a job. In my case, I did like 4 to 5 restaurants over a week or 2 week period. So I'd learn from different chefs, different cuisines, different techniques the whole time. So my acceleration of learning is actually quite rapid. And it was fantastic because I found myself learning something I loved, but then applying it on the plate. And so I could then start talking a bit more technically, but still easily about dishes that were helping people with their like goals and their goal setting in performance or just weight loss or well-being. And that really exposed me to like a point where I hadn't seen anyone do this yet. I hadn't seen anyone apply like, call it relatable content material that was value add in the world of nutrition. And that's kind of like where I was at 22 years old. I'm like, I'm going to go deep on this.
What year was this?
14 years ago.
14 years, yeah.
So like
There's
I
nothing
was
out there.
2012, 2013, 2012. Yeah, 2012, dude.
2013.
Yeah.
This is when like everyone just used to spam the word calorie deficit, and that's
Yes.
it. Like you need to be in a calorie deficit,
Yeah.
and that is it. That's
That's
all
it.
the information that you had.
100%.
Didn't know any way of how you got there. Obviously, there was people putting out a couple of years later if it fits your macros and stuff like this. But yeah, that's cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
dude. It was early, and like, I guess that's like I learned that was legitimately feeding my soul. Like I loved it so much, and so I just went deep in that, and I learned how do I build a brand around this? What do I need to do to like grow that? And I've just been grinding ever since.
That's sick. I want to touch on, you said that obviously you was getting work experience basically in kitchens. Mm-hmm. Is it as intense as what people make out?
Oh yeah.
Like, is it that serious? I remember listening to Gordon Ramsay. He was saying like they used to place bets on people like leaving before 24 hours and stuff like that. I don't know if he's obviously hyping it up so much to the extent, but like, is it intense and is it full on?
Yeah. Dude.
And is that at every kitchen, or is it just at the best kitchens or the kitchens that are understaffed? Or
yeah, look, the chef world's a tough industry, right? Like, the old school way was like cut your teeth. What I went through, you'll go through. Nowadays, you realize that that's not going to work anymore. So the kitchens I have and work with, it's just like we don't have that team. Like, and my mentality is look after staff, support them, but they've got to still get the work done. You know, I had pots and pans thrown at my face as a sous chef. Like that still happened when I was growing up and in the kitchen. Like that just happened. And it was
like quite an aggressive place. If you get stuff wrong, then
100%. It was like you would be told you are a piece of shit effectively. Like you would be alienated. And it's because those people were pushed in the same way, and they think it's how, because they got to where they were, it's how it puts the best out of them. Like, if you've seen the bear brings anxiety in a good way to me because it reminds me of some times in my life. Like, it really does. What Gordon's talking about is absolutely true. Like, these moments actually happen. I would say, like, as we've progressed, as I said earlier, like, we don't have that much anymore. Like, I don't see it as much. I think the kitchens are much better. Like, don't get me wrong, some kitchens are gnarly, but I would say more so we're seeing a much more family, tight-knit relationship between people, and some things just aren't accepted anymore, and they don't fly. But yeah, I would then, if I step back and say one of the best jobs you can do to learn about the world and other industries is being a chef, because you learn about pre-planning, systemization, discipline, doing the same thing over and over again habitually, you know, like an execution in a team environment. You're looking after your station, the communication between that. Like, dude, there's so many things in a restaurant environment that play out in life. Genuinely,
like, that is one thing that I don't think I'm in a position to do it now, but like I would love to do is just go and get some work experience in a kitchen. I feel like it's one of them skills that once you learn how to cook and learn the fundamentals of whether it's just seasoning or whether it's, you know, learning how to cook things and the timing and things like that, like it just makes your whole, it's a hack for life. You've got it for life. It's like relating it to a lad bodybuilding when they're younger and getting strong. Like, you might lose that muscle, but as soon as you get back into it, you pick it up straight away. And it's like muscle memory.
Dude, 100%. I'd love to see Jake in a kitchen. I reckon.
So, to be fair, if there's any kitchens out there in Manchester, maybe Bolton, a little bit closer, I'll come do a bit of work.
Start with pots and pans, then you get your knife work in, and then we'll move you on to...
How's it go? How long do you actually need until you're like an okay... Well, you actually get put onto the food first.
Oh.
Because obviously you're, like you say, washing up first. I feel like you're going washing up.
You're washing up, you got to learn the dishes, then you got to do prep work. So prep work is like where you use a lot of the basic knife skills. You may like eventually learn how to break down an animal, which is really important. But like, yeah, I'd say like doing the prep.
Can we do that? Can we do that one time?
You
break
down
an animal?
Yeah, of course. What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Sorry,
start with poultry, start with chicken. What are you laughing at?
It just sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? Breaking down an animal.
Mate, we talk about it all the time. You literally be like, all right, chef, break it down.
Break it down.
Break it down.
Okay.
Break it down, yeah. We can do that.
That's the slang.
It is.
So we'll start with a chicken. We'll do a bit of poultry.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've seen the price of cows.
Yeah.
They keep coming up on like my TikToks, not TikTok, I don't have TikTok, but Instagram, where it's like, I got all this from buying a cow.
Yeah.
And it's like 37 fillet steaks.
Yeah.
54 sirloin steaks and stuff like that. So maybe, and it's like $5,000 for a cow. How much is a typical cow?
Oh,
obviously,
mate.
it probably changes from region to region.
100%. Different regions, different breeds. But what I will say is, you can, like, one good thing to do is if you have the freezer space, if you can go in with bunch of mates and buy
just pick up a cow.
And then you get, like, you literally, what you can do is you can buy a cow and then the local butcher breaks it down for you. It's cheaper because you're buying it you're buying everything. Mm-hmm. So you have all these different cuts, you know, all these like secondary cuts, primary cuts, like even sometimes you get offal depending if you want it, some gamey, depending on what kind of animal you have. Mate, it's really, really cool. We can break down a lamb, we can do some funny games.
Yeah, let's do it. I'd love to do it.
Break down a whole lamb.
The only problem is I've not got any storage. We'd have to find like an American friend that has like an American big fridge freezer, because we just don't have fridge freezers like that in the UK.
You just don't have them.
Yeah, we just don't have them. Everything's bigger over here, so
nice.
We'll find someone.
Yeah.
Again, if there's a friend that wants some meat, and we'll cut it up for
100%.
And it'd be cool
That'd be fun.
Yeah, so obviously chopping up things, like you say, chopping up actual animals. Mm-hmm. What's after that?
So then you go into I'd say depending on like where you're at in terms of your skill set.
Can you ask where you want to go, or like?
Yeah, definitely. Like you
The
can
end
say
goal is to be able to make a meal.
100%. And depends on how big the kitchen is, because the kitchen can have different stations. For example, my most recent kitchen we had grill, saute, garde-manger, and then also what we call hot ups. So you could literally go around and learn each of those stations and then be able to cook a meal if you want. Sometimes the kitchens are much bigger than that, where you have more than 4 people and you have a huge amount of different stations. So I think best thing to do is learn your knife skills, do your prep, maybe look down and learn how to break down proteins. But then like I'd start with the line. I think the line cook is such an underrated skill to learn, because you're learning how to cook something, how to add sauces, how to even like reduce sauces to an extent, like to then baste. You can see where seasoning occurs. I think line cook, if you can get to line cook, you're crushing it.
Sick. And how long would that roughly take? Like, how long does that take to learn?
I reckon
to earn your stripes.
If I said to you, go in, I want you to do this for, say, would you reckon like 3 times a week is realistic? Maybe twice.
No, say we're doing a full-time job.
Full-time job.
And we work experience.
I reckon you can get there within...
When I say full-time job, like 40 hours a week.
Yeah. Okay. So 40 hours a week. I reckon you could probably get there within 6 to 7 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Depending on your skill set. Yeah.
Okay.
Some people can pick it up even quicker. Yeah.
Perfect. Well,
Put
might
that
have to
in.
take a little break.
A little hiatus from crushing
might go
it.
on secondment to chef school.
Watch this space.
Exactly. No, it's interesting. I actually forgot to tell you, I have been a chef in my past life.
What?
When I was 16,
What do you got?
I left school and I went working at KFC.
Mate, you are a KFC aficionado. What did you do? You fry? Where were you at?
I was a cook.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you perfected the art of frying chicken.
Yeah, they still never told me the secret seasoning.
I didn't give you the 11 secret herbs spices.
No,
Damn
I
it.
didn't give me that.
Mate,
But,
talk me through your technique. I want to hear this.
it was just basically you had a sheet in front of you, and it had like instructions 1 to 10, and you just followed them instructions basically. So it says like so with the chicken at KFC, you obviously have to wash the chicken first. So it comes out, it's all perfect chicken, like the best quality you could actually have.
In the UK.
In the UK it is, yeah. You wash it, then you bread it first time, and then you wet it again. Then you bread it for a second time.
Huh.
And then I think the second time's in like a spicier one. So and you have 2 different ones for the spicy stuff and then for the normal one, like the original recipe. And then after that, it then goes straight into the fryer, and then you press a button depending on how much you've got, and it fries for like 9 minutes. And then it's actually pretty good in the UK. So like chicken's not just left for ages. Like they've got like a lead time of like, if it's sat out more than 30 minutes, like they bin it.
Yeah,
And
the food in the UK
actually
is insane.
pretty cool. Like I would still eat KFC after working there. The only thing that was a bit crazy was people used to use the wraps as frisbees and like just throw them across. Like, throw them at people. But obviously that's not happening with your wrap. So
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
But no, it was pretty cool. A pretty cool experience. I actually left that because I got an apprenticeship, but another reason was because I started growing a little bit of stubble when I was 16.
Yep.
And they were like, you need to shave that, or you need to wear one of these masks. And these masks were like, it wasn't just covering your beard, it was like covering your whole face. I was like, my time's done, I think. I think I was earning £3.79 per hour as well. So that is
criminal.
Yeah, £3.79. So yeah, it was a good experience. And then, moved on.
So the start of your whole athletic endeavors began with you and KFC, and thank God for that beard net that you're not allowed to have.
I know. I actually went on as well, and I don't know if this will surprise you or not, but I was obsessed with nutrition. And instead of like hiring a personal trainer or nutritionist, I thought I knew better. So I thought, I'm going to enroll on a nutrition course. So I did one called MNU in the UK.
Yeah.
It was like the best evidence-based one out at the time. And I spent a year doing a nutrition course alongside my civil engineering that I did. And it was one of the best things I've ever done. I think it was $2,500 to do it. It was like a full year. And I learned so much. I didn't learn anything about cooking, but I learned everything about nutrition. And it was really cool.
Mate, I think it's like when you think about a lot of the questions we all have about just life in general, a lot of them come down to like what we put into our body, how we treat our body. So it's like, even if you don't apply that to, say, professional environment, you're applying an investment to yourself. Dude, like, you don't have to question a lot of the fundamental things around food, like in nutrition, because you just learned it over a full course of a year. And I often say, it's like, people ask me questions like, what should I eat? It's like, I wonder if people actually had a course that they could go to more consistently, because that would be it's one of the best investments
you've definitely got to be interested in it and like obsessed with it, though, because I also invested in, so I did school and then I got an apprenticeship. So I was technically doing a BTEC, but I thought I was smarter than what I was. So I was like, I'm going to enroll on an A level and I'm going to pay my way into doing a mathematics A level. So just one A level. And I thought, I'm going to do this alongside my civil engineering as well. And I paid at the time, I think, like £1,000 to enroll in a course. And I got sent a textbook. And no videos, no nothing, just this textbook I got sent in the post. And it was like this online learning. It was a massive textbook. And I opened the first page. I think I must have got to like page 3, closed the page, and then never opened it again. And I'm still gutted about the money that I've lost and invested in that, because it's still sat somewhere. I just give up on an A level. I thought I was better than what I was, and I just don't have the dedication. But I'm not really interested in, I don't know, equations and shit like that. So
you solve other life's problems, mate. That's what you do.
Maybe I don't know.
You show how to go forward.
I just run far, like Forrest Gump. Basically, I just want to be Forrest Gump.
Mate, that's crazy. That is unbelievable. Like, I love the fact you just, because A level. What is A level?
A levels. What's A level, Tom? Like, yeah, so it's like below university, but when you leave school, I don't know if it's still like this, but you're either smart enough to do A levels, or you're not smart enough and you go and do a BTEC.
Okay.
But with an apprenticeship, you generally do a BTEC in a way, because you're learning like on the job. Now it's actually spun around, because A levels generally for like your typical 9 to 5 jobs, and your BTECs are more vocational. So they're for like plumbing, they're for bricklaying and things like that, and engineering. But the tables have kind of turned. When I was in school, like, you was applauded if you wanted to work a 9 to 5. If you said, I want to be an office worker, you was applauded. And if you said you wanted to be a bricklayer, people pointed and laughed. And they were like, you're thick. But now the bricklayers, the plumbers, they're earning so much more than the 9 to 5 office workers. Like, tables have turned so much, man. Just because of manual work, like the value of it.
Totally.
So I kind of love it that I got to go and witness that. But yeah, there were some mad people at that college doing BTEC. So yeah, it wasn't your smartest people, but again, life experiences there.
That's it.
So obviously, like you said, you mentioned there briefly, and I don't think people may not understand this about you, but you've owned a restaurant. Mm-hmm. Have you owned more than one?
I've had Charlie Street. I've been involved in a bunch. So, yeah.
Can you just tell that story a little bit, like how you got into actually opening your own restaurant?
Sure, dude. Yeah. So after like being a sous chef, head chef, and exec chef, and whatnot, and then I moved to the States. You know, like I really felt as a chef and building a brand, one of the things that I missed was being involved in restaurants, and so I had been a part of them in Australia, didn't own them outright. And when I moved over, I was like, I need to do this. So in New York, I was like, how am I going to do it? What am I going to do? And first thing in mind is just like, the thing that keeps coming back to me is like, keep it casual, keep it easy. So I ended up, getting a bunch of mates together and doing this thing called Charlie Street, which was an Australian cafe in Soho. And it was great. Like, I had breakfast down, had like awesome coffee. And
when you say Australian cafe.
Yeah.
What's the kind of local, like, what's the go-to
Mate,
dish?
avocado on toast with a couple of poached eggs, surely.
Right, okay, so that's the one that's coming from Australia.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So that's
great.
gone global now.
Oh, it is,
that's,
mate. We
that's a
invented
bougie
it.
breakfast.
100%. Like, that's why,
Yeah.
like, slap that $30 later. That's what it is. Like, it's crazy. But like, we used to do that all the time in Oz, and you go to the UK now, and like
That's a typical girl breakfast.
100%. Think of every, you get it. Like,
I don't know if that's the right terminology, whether you can say girl breakfast, but like it's the bougie thing. It's the in thing.
really good to see on Instagram, particularly with a beautiful couple of poached eggs that just like opened up.
It's
and
the
yellow
Instagram
yolk.
pic, innit?
It is. It is. But you know, like it was also like I recognized there was a safe haven for a lot of people. We had it for 5 and a bit years, and we built a really solid community. Like we had people like meet their life partners there, meet business partners, and it was awesome experience. And then COVID kind of shut the door on that a little bit, and so I took over as the exec chef at the One Hotel in Brooklyn Bridge. But I think learning about all these things, like people talk about the restaurant side and think about it as a chef. I think about it from learning how to build a brand, the constraints of retail, and like learning what I did from that. We launched a CPG product that didn't work out, and so you learn about that. You learn about like it's almost like all these things that you make mistakes and fail on allows you to give experience elsewhere. So now I have people ask me about retail spaces and stuff. I'm just like, well, what's your fixed cost? Your first fixed cost is your rent. And they tell me their rent. I'm like, you have all these formulas that we now know with retail what your genuine revenue should be. I'm like, can you hit this target? Like it's I love, one of the things I've really loved about my life so far is that I've had a crack, and it's allowed me to learn so much about the failures that I've had that I can then share that with people so they don't make the same mistakes I've done. And it's really amazing. Like it's a really cool feeling to tell a mate, don't do something because you're going to lose a lot of money, or do it and learn so you can then also pass on the advice to someone else.
Would you say it's tough in owning your own restaurant? Like, is it a tough business to get into? Is it?
Of course. It's one of the most...
Otherwise, you'd do it now, probably. I know, obviously, like you say, COVID was probably a blessing in disguise for you because it forced that kind of part of your life to end. But do you feel like you'll ever own a restaurant in your life again? Like maybe like a retirement project, something like that? Or
there's a project I've got right now, actually, in Costa Rica. It's
Costa Rica, wow, that's tropical.
Yeah, very tropical. So my missus is very happy for when wintertime in New York's on. But that's got a restaurant that I'm, involved with. And I foresee, what I do foresee is, a lot of these resorts and hotels are popping up and they're getting interest in the health space. They need like a chef that's understands the health space, isn't just like a classic chef. And so we can bridge that gap. And so I can see that continuing to be something we entertain. I think what you learn though is like where you're best suited, and what we've found out from these events and opportunities is, with everything I've got going on, I can't be the person always in the restaurant operating. That's not what I'm best suited to support the brand on anymore, but I'm always willing to do stuff. And that's the problem. It's like one of my biggest challenges is I'll always get involved when I see a problem. And sometimes it's best to kind of like let the team handle that and not having to get involved. And that's a challenge, right? So, I love the idea of continuing to be involved in restaurants. It is a tough business. If you find the right type of business for them, it can be very fantastic. But yeah, I'd say in general, from staffing to the cost to like cost of goods, like the percentage of profit at the end of it that's why we see such high turnover. Like there's just constant turnover of restaurants wherever you go.
Yeah, interesting. It's very similar in like the gym space as well. That's why a lot of people say, "Oh, why have you not tried opening up your own gym and things like that?" And although it would be incredible, one, I'm blessed to have access to a gym already, and two, like I see it not being very profitable. But that set you up. Owning that and making that potential mistake, or like, I won't even call it a mistake because you've learned so much from it. You now are like the ultimate fitness businessman, in my opinion. and I don't know if that doesn't come across as very good, but like, what I'm trying to say is like, you're very savvy with everything that you do. You've got multiple streams of income. You're doing so much. How do you operate? So, like, you seem to be doing so much, and I don't even know how you keep up with yourself. Like, how is it good time management? Is it obviously you've learned over the years? Like,
yeah, mate. I think you will, first off, you've got to have the right people around you to support you in your endeavors, and that's a team, that's relationships. You know, like I really feel that the team I've had over the years have enabled me to do a lot more. And that's like people from my content team to like, you know, like everything that we do from that side of the business is in so many ways the heart, because it's allowed us to work with companies and in a deeper way rather than just what we see as a surface level of social media. And as someone who's crosses over in fitness and nutrition, I know I can play a pretty important role with supporting communities and people in the space understanding what's the right thing to eat, because I walk the talk, but also I'm able to like back it up for my credibility. So I think what I've learned most importantly is put the right people in places around you when you can afford it. Continue to find ways to support them. As you find brands to work with, one, would you do it for free? Not that you have to, but would you work with the company for free? Do they add value just like you add value to them from a brand perspective? So do they lift you up? They get you excited to work for them outside of the funds. And then, of course, like the finances have to make sense to support and respect your time and your team's time. But I learned very early on in this social media space that one thing that everyone wanted was content. And I evolved my business around helping brands learn not only to get more content, create more content, but how to execute on a strategic level around content. And so that's allowed us to, you know, have deeper relationships with these brands and support them on a level that they haven't had the eyesight for, whilst also then feeding the beast of what I do in like the YouTube and long form space, which is a huge avenue for us.
You've got so much going on. Like it's genuinely impressive. Like again, the brands that you work with, they're all aspiring brands. They're all aspirable brands. They're all the best brands in the space that they work in. So that's a credit to you. Obviously being able to choose them, but then wanting you as well. The amount of work that goes into you documenting not only your journey, but then documenting other people's journey and dipping in and out and teaching them how to cook, seeing how they train for things, and you having that curiosity for every sport it's sick to see. So if people don't know, go over to Dan's YouTube, watch his stuff, because he's literally whatever sport that you're interested in, Dan's probably met up with an athlete at the top of the game in that sport, and he's kind of swapped skills. He's learnt a little bit from them throughout their training, and he's taught them or solved their nutrition problems. So it's kind of like a win-win, and I think it's a really good model that you've kind of come across, and it's cool. I genuinely love watching them, and they're really watchable, if that makes sense. Like you say, you've got that, you've got other things, investments and things. How do you manage your time when you've got all that stuff going on? You've got so many emails to reply to, messages to reply to, but then you've got to fit your training in, because you've found your passion. Obviously, you've got two passions that are like rivaling each other, and you've had these from a young age where you love being the best you can be when it comes to physical performance. But you also have the business side, and you have a passion for cooking. How do you balance these alongside your family? Obviously, you've got a beautiful fiance, wife. She wouldn't mind that, would she?
Absolutely not.
No. So we'll say wife.
Jake's getting the brownie points.
There we go. And then obviously just like your chaotic life of traveling. Have you got a dog as well?
Mate, he's my best mate. He's Maverick. He's a legend.
Maverick. Yeah, I remember. But yeah, how would you fit it all in?
So I think the first thing we do is have a plan. So every Sunday night, I write out my training plan. Mm-hmm. That's non-negotiable. So that allows me to understand my time. It also allows me to understand when I need to eat. If I'm going to be going to a meeting, should there be something around there that I need to eat?
So you're that specific. You're like hour by hour.
I wouldn't say hour by hour, but I definitely document my training because it's almost like the cornerstone of my day. So my day is really it's not governed by my training. I just need to have my training in place to then set up the rest of my day. And so from there, I have Maddie, who's an unbelievable. She's been working with me for a very long time. She helps support my scheduling, and then I have my meetings with the team with respective projects, and over the time, I've learned to delegate to give them empowerment. So there's certain projects that I barely touch until I need to. Then there's times where I am more heavily involved in things and we allow the time for that to happen. So there's one thing we do really well is Monday is generally a call day. So it allows me to always be just present on calls and meetings and more admin. Tuesday and Thursday are typically more shoot days. So it allows me to be solely creative. And that's been a really effective strategy because it also allows to have a day in between to redo pre-production if we are shooting. And I also recognize that being away from my computer, it's if you're shooting, mate, you can't talk to people. So if I'm in a kitchen, I'm not on my phone. If you're working out or if you're talking to a camera, they can't reach you. So you have to have people to support you in that endeavor. I learned that pretty quickly because communication to me is really important.
You are on it. You reply straight away.
Yeah.
You're always checking in. I love it. And I'm the complete opposite. I'm just so bad. I open up my phone, see so many messages. I'm like, I get that anxiety feeling, and I'm like, just put that back in my pocket.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be rude and ignorant, and some people take it like that. But when you are so busy and you've got other stuff going on, it's just sometimes it's
overwhelming.
Yeah, it is overwhelming.
It's super overwhelming, bro.
But it's good that you're on it, and like you say, you've got help in that area as well. So do you have someone that helps with the messages, or
same with not with messages, but social stuff I do for my newsletter. I do all the incoming and inbound stuff for that. Mm-hmm. Same with YouTube. Building a community is built on comms, and I'm big on that. I've taught that. I've said that over and over again. Make people feel loved and supported, and
so communication, organization.
Yep.
It's kind of your two pillars.
Two big pillars. Yeah. And you'd be surprised what people can get done in a week if they, one, plan it out, and two, they generally love what they're doing. I fucking love what I do, and so I'm grateful for that.
It never feels like work. Even though it's hard work, it never feels like work.
No.
You finish every day I'm so glad that's done.
Yeah.
But you're also that was sick.
Totally, dude. I think that's one of the first things I really appreciate about you is you're very grateful. You're a very grateful individual for everything. And you're very humble, but unbelievably grateful. Which is a good tell about one, your family, how they brought you up, and you're the people that are around you more than anything. And also you learn a lot about someone by the way they treat not me, but the people around me who may know me. And you're really good at that. You're really good at making someone feel absolutely the center of attention, even though they're often not. Because for you and I, people come and hang out with us, right? So Tommy, I fucking love Tommy.
You always, that's one thing again, not to let your ass, but you appreciate, I think we're very similar in that you'll say hello to everyone in the room. You're not just coming here saying hello to me. You're right, Tommy. You're right, camera guy over there. You literally asking about Tom's day. You're asking about what he's doing, and you do that with every person. And it grates me. I don't know about you, but it grates me the people that just goes directly to whoever they want to speak to, and they block out all the other people. You want to make everyone's day. I think mate, it's kind of like karma, really.
Yeah.
If you treat people nice, if you treat everyone nice, then you're not going to be treated badly.
No, exactly, mate.
I don't know.
It does bewilder me. One of the biggest things and challenges in life I see is why we see. It's very easy to be nice. Very easy.
It's very easy to be nice, and on a selfish note, if you do say good morning to someone or have a great day, it makes you feel better.
Yes.
I don't know what people don't understand about that. People who walk around, especially London, you see it all the time. And I say good morning to people, and they look at you like you are an alien. What? You just said good morning to me. Like, I had one the other day, like the other week, and I think not the other week. It was like last year, and I was cycling, and you know how you've got to stop at lights. I actually stopped at lights. I didn't go through the red light.
Wow, you badass.
But I was like next to another cyclist in London. I was on my line bike, by the way, he had like a proper bike.
Nice. Locked in.
Yeah, and I just said, "Good morning," and he looked at me, turned up, and went, "Fuck off, you prick."
Wow. What jumped up his ass?
I was like, what? What? And he thought I was taking the piss by saying good morning.
He's just so shocked that someone would be so nice to him. That's what it was.
I was like,
what is this guy? Oh,
I don't know, but he was an older gentleman, probably around 50, 60.
Oh, he was definitely shocked.
Yeah, and I just don't think people say good morning. I'm like, but it's nice to be nice. It makes you feel good as well.
It does, mate.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, it's cool. And for the grateful thing, like, I don't know about you, but I got brought up. I say this, like, when I was 16, if I ever dreamt of what my life could be like, this is better than my dreams.
Yes.
I get to compete. Yes, it's tough. Yes, training's hard, but I get to travel the world, meet amazing people, and I'm so grateful for it. And I know it could be taken away from me tomorrow, like it could with us all. So, like, why are you not grateful to the people that you meet and grateful for the opportunities? Like, some people tell me you need to start saying no more. And we actually said it on the YouTube. We were like, after I didn't get the result that I want, I need to start saying no more. I need to start saying no to all these distractions. But I then watched the film. Have you watched the film Yes Man?
Yeah.
Well, that got me hyped up. I was like, I don't want to say no. I'm going to make my own rules. I'm going to say yes.
He's going to say yes, dude.
I'm going to say yes to everything. So don't suggest anything crazy, because I might say yes. But I'm the least craziest guy on the planet. I'm literally boring as fuck.
Let's start with get him in the restaurant. Yes.
Yeah, but like at the end of the day, if it's like, if you're saying yes to something that's not hurting you, you're not going out drinking, you're not going out on a big night out, like you're maybe doing a little bit more travel, but you're traveling with brands, you're doing run clubs, you're doing this, that. Yes, they are distractions, but they're inspiring other people. You get to meet cool people. Like, I get hyped up by every single person that I meet. Like, it's telling me about they're training for a 10K, they're training for a marathon, whatever they're training for. Like, it's like, yes, that's sick. I then go and do my training. I'm like, I'm in it with other people. It's not just me that's sitting on this bike being bored as fuck. Like, there's other people doing this, and we're all doing it together, and it's cool. And that like hypes me up, and there's nothing better. So like, I think that's the old athlete mentality. Say no to everything. Say no to all your distractions. You need to be hyper focused on what you're doing. But at the end of the day, you can't take it for granted. No one's going to be in this sport forever. No. So you might as well say yes to the things that come your way.
Well, let me ask you this, dude. I think it's a good one. If you could swap with someone in the world, their life with your life, take into account not just their profession, but the fact that you would have completely new friends, everything else around you. Name someone you would do that with, thinking about the fact that, yeah, you could enjoy their profession, their money, but you would miss all your friends. So take that into account. Would you honestly do it? And I've asked this question to people, and some people surprise me, but would you do it?
No. Not at all. Not at all, because I'm not a money-orientated person. I couldn't care less. Like, the money I make, it goes straight back into investing into
doing a podcast.
Yeah, doing a podcast. Look, mate, the amount of money I've invested into this, my bank account is like hurting. Like, yeah, I'm
so
dipping under.
Subscribe.
I'm dipping under. Yeah, I don't know what you're subscribing to, but. But yeah, I think I might have to start making an OnlyFans to make this work.
Nice. Say yes.
Yeah, subscribe to that. It'll be coming out soon. But but it's because we're doing sick stuff. Like, it's the experience.
Yeah,
and
dude.
At the end of the day, like, money comes and goes. Like, when all this is done, what are you going to remember? You're going to remember us having this good chat, us going out for dinner, and that's what I want to bring it back around to. Like, food for me is one of the best things in the world. Number one, it's an art. I love going to any nice restaurant and seeing what is being made and trying it, because you never have the same thing twice. And it's just something crazy about it. I'm kind of obsessed with it. Call me a food snob. I don't care. Like, I like nice food. But I also like sharing that with people. And I think it's the best thing that you can do. Sharing food with people, everyone's happy when they're eating. And it kind of makes bad times better, and it makes good times better. Like, there's no downside to having nice food. So that's why I'm so interested in you, because you have found this from like a young age. Like you say, it was the first thing that you came across. You were like, food brings people together. And I just think it's sick.
Mate, it's the universal language where I can put a bowl of ramen in front of a lovely Japanese lady, not speaking the same language verbally, but she can understand every single thing that I'm thinking. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's like when we eat, we do slow down. I recall the reason why my family was so close in those times, where despite having different age groups and adolescence and all those kind of things, we were centered around the kitchen and the table. So I think the idea of a way to finish a meal or finish a day for me is always like with mates over a meal, or with my lady over a meal. It's like you sit down, your conscience of the people around you is just so intentional. And for me, that's a gift that I get to be a part of when I have people come into the restaurants, or you know, anything that I can do. Like when someone shows me a photo of the meal they cooked from one of my cookbooks with their family, I'm like, oh my God, like I was a part of that moment. And that's, to your point, grateful, because that is a special feeling. It's an unbelievable feeling.
That's sick. And I want to finish, or come to finishing with some quick fire questions.
Hit me.
First one, when you go and eat out, do you judge other people's foods? Like, are you like the ultimate food critic? And I know this isn't just a yes or no, but like...
So the reason why I'm slow to answer is because if the chef invites me out and wants my opinion, I will 100% be critical. But if I'm going out with friends, going out with Milena, no, I'm there to enjoy myself, relax and chill out.
So you're not like, I'm going to go and have a word with this chef. He's doing this wrong.
No. And you always thank the chef. So when you go up, maybe the bathroom's close to the counter, you always go and say thank you. Because I'm like, you can say thank you the front of house, which you should always do. Because the teams, no matter what, whatever reason is, you know, the service can be slow, whatever it is, there's always a reason for it. But the back of house don't get like the face value. So always go and say thank you to the chef team. That's
sick. Favorite cuisine?
Italian. Absolutely.
Going into that a little bit further, favorite dish?
I think honestly, like I think I've used the word romance a few times, but there's something about cooking with your hands and the art of pasta making and gnocchi and pizza, and like that thing is just beautiful. Like I grew up on the idea of loving open flame cooking, so cooking with like proteins and vegetables over open flame, but Italian always comes back to me. I love pasta. Everything from bucatini to spaghettini, you know, orecchiette, like all of it, man. Like I love every single pasta. And it could be the fun way about it, what it reminds me of my childhood, just the thought of Italy through it, because I'm obsessed with Italy. It's my favorite cuisine.
I love that. Cooking on an open fire then? Or cooking on a pan? And I think I know the answer to this because I watch your YouTubes.
Open flame.
I thought it was the opposite. No. Or maybe that's just steak.
Steak, I prefer... Well, steak is unique in the sense that if I have the right steak, it's definitely an open flame. If I have a certain steak... The reason why you haven't seen me do a lot of open flame cooking right now on my YouTube is I don't have access to like a backyard, because New York is kind of adverse in that. But if we're in Australia or we're here or something like that, bro, you would... Like if we're in Nashville, I'd create a bonfire, some hanging hooks, some chickens hanging, like a tomahawk steak, some eggplant, some veggies. Like, dude, it would be a vibe. Like when we cooked on Santa Monica Pier, open flame. Sick.
That's interesting because I remember you saying, and it was a valid point. You was like, most restaurants cook indoors with a pan because you're controlling more factors and you're going to get a better sear of the steak.
Yes, 100%. But the fun in open flame cooking, by building a fire, creating the heat control, and just salt and pepper is that moment to me is fun.
Yeah, you remembering that.
Yeah.
Next one, moving on to fitness. If you could only do one for the rest of your life, are you going to choose running or are you going to choose lifting weights?
I would say, due to my, I wouldn't say obsession, but interest in longevity, probably lifting weights.
Interesting.
Because I can lift weights to build my strength. I can walk around still through cardio. But you can't, with running, you can run and not lift weights. And I feel like it's going to be more detrimental.
Out of everything that you've done, what are you most proud of?
I'd say probably, like, physically, probably Leadville. I think that was just personally, like, with having asthma and like that as a challenge at altitude and my altitude sickness. Obviously running 100 miles at 9,500 feet minimum, like that's a challenge in itself. But I think more of the comeback. Like I rolled my ankle one year and dedicated myself for another year to come back and do it, and I did. So, and just the people around me was a sick moment.
What is your best habit that you could give someone that's watching this?
My best habit is probably my dedication to my morning of solidarity.
So and morning routine.
Yeah, like it's more like just making sure it resets me every day, and like it's nothing like woo woo or spiritual. It's like I make a coffee, and if I have access to, if I'm at home, I have my red light and I read a book, and that moment just I've done something for myself that day, and I do that every single day. Everything else, you know, good day, bad day, I've still done something for myself, which is still a tick in the box. Too often what happens is we do these days where we don't do something for ourselves, not one thing. And it really, like, you get to the end of the day and it's like, what have I done for myself? And like, you feel like you've missed something. I don't get that because every single day I've at least made my coffee, sat down, read my book, had Mav next to me. And just for 20 minutes I've been dedicated to myself, which I think everyone should do. Not that routine necessarily, but just something for themselves.
I like that. You seem like a pretty perfect guy.
Oh, mate,
what we've been talking about.
Go ask Milena.
But, well, this might come through to her. What is a bad habit that you can't kind of kick?
I'm just listing off the ones in my head that Milena continues to tell me that I do. I'm trying to think of like a not obvious one. Like, you know, I wear the shoes in the house when I shouldn't. A bad habit could be I wait till the weekend to do anything for maybe the like around the house, or maybe it's more immediate for like my personal life, and I leave like because like I'm so switched to Monday, Tuesday through to Friday's work.
Just locked in.
And that can be an issue because as a habit, it's like, what if something needs to be more immediate? It's middle of the week. But I just mentally, like you are with your phone, I block it out because I don't want to touch it until the weekend. I also, maybe a side one, Milena would definitely agree with this one. I've got an obsession with sport. Like I've got an obsession with American sport. I've got an obsession with sport, you know, anything. So like you constantly see me like reading chat blogs, ESPN, like what's going on in the EPL, what's going on in the championship, go Wrexham, like all these different things. And so I think you've noticed I've talked to you a little about sport before. Like I've got I love sport.
I don't even know how you fit that in. Like that's on top of everything else.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just a simple guy.
I don't know where it is, man. I don't want to get time for that. But like even like a quick 5-minute squiz of like reading the latest in ESPN and seeing something like it I don't know, it's a bad habit for sure, because I dedicate a lot of time that could go to something else towards, I don't know, when I say a lot of time, it's not probably not much time, but like that's about time that I could dedicate to some more work or something like that, or more importantly, Milena.
If you couldn't do what you do now, what would you do? And it can't be literally taking fitness out, taking chefing out, no food, no fitness.
Damn it.
What we?
Could I be like a...
Or content creation.
Okay, shit. Okay. Ooh. That would be cool. You can't do sport, so I can't be professional athlete. Okay, so I've done, that's gone. Okay. I would probably be...
I asked Tom this, and he said drug dealer. Said if he couldn't be a videographer, he'd be a drug dealer. That's what he said.
Look at, yeah, good cash. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I wouldn't know, but yeah, apparently it's got good. Yeah, you don't work at all?
No, it sells themselves.
Yeah, it just does it all. I'd probably be some sort of ancient history journalist, or ancient or modern history. Like, I really am fascinated by it. So I'd probably spend time researching and then being able to write about it. I reckon that's what I'd be. If I wasn't, because honestly, that's the, like...
So you like do you just have like Night at the Museum on repeat in your house?
Much, yeah. Like, I'm reading right now about like Teddy Roosevelt and like, you know, what he's done and like other presidents and
Is
even,
that why you moved to New York? Because there's so much like history and so many museums and...
I go past John D. Rockefeller's original, you know, office every single day with Maverick. It's crazy. Like, you go past the Trinity Church, mate. There's so much. Australia, dude, young country. Like, even like it is
even America, to be fair.
America, young country, and still old, significantly older than Australia. Europe, holy shit! Like, you guys are old.
It's crazy. And then apparently Africa even older.
Yeah. Well, we got... Australia has... When I say Australia's young, the Australian with the white settlers to be discovered is young. But our native indigenous Aboriginals have been there for tens of thousands of years.
Wow.
It's crazy.
I didn't know you was into history. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, if it wasn't being a Formula One driver or QB1 of the New England Patriots or a sports journalist or an anchor of some sort, it had to be probably ancient history.
This has just prompted a question. Do you believe in any conspiracies?
You know, I've actually been asked this before, and I think I like the idea of, when I say like, I think of concepts of a conspiracy and go, it's intriguing to hear their perspective, but I can't believe it enough to say that I do believe it, if that makes sense.
So you're not having flat Earth?
Nah. Flat Earth like, I like the round situation, especially when we, you know, you look at all the photos.
Did we go to the moon?
Yeah, did we actually go to the moon? Who killed JFK?
Yeah, and then just the big one, like, do you believe in aliens? That's the one.
Well, Tommy, I think you somewhat qualify with an alien sometimes, don't you?
I know, I'm too good at my job.
Yeah, you're very good. You just continue to add more things.
No one can hear him either, so like his witty comments that he's saying back to us, no one can hear it.
You should get a little
Yeah,
side.
I'm gonna set him up with a mic.
Side producer Mike.
Yeah, that's cool. And then last one that just always intrigues me, and I like to ask this. Do you believe in retirement? And would you ever retire in the traditional sense?
That's probably the best question you've asked so far. At this point, it's so hard to see retirement like as a traditional sense as a thing, because I just love my job, which is what am I going to do? Stop hanging out with my mates and like teaching people how to cook? Like, I may stop getting paid for it, but does that mean I'm retired? Like, no. The answer is no. Could I slow down a little bit? Yeah, of course. But I don't see the official concept of retirement, at least when I'm 36 odd and being like, yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. That's cool. Nah, I want to work for the rest of my life in some form and sense.
Totally.
And I think that takes so much pressure off thinking about pensions, thinking about savings, all that shit, which takes up so much stress and so much of your life thinking about. Like, if you know and you're just in it, I want to work to the day I die, and it just takes away stress. Like, that's hopefully what I can do. Obviously, it's not going to be in the same thing, but it's going to be a new chapter after chapter. You'll have new professions. I feel like it's very. I feel like it's exciting as well. Like you don't know what you're going to be doing in even 10 years time. None of us know what we're doing in 10 years time.
Totally.
You don't know. It could completely change. So the fact that you're looking however many years down the line and you're thinking, oh, I can't wait for retirement. I think just believing in that is it gives me sadness that I know everyone's different. Some people might just want to chill and do fuck all and do nothing. But like it makes me sad that people aren't enjoying what they do right now enough that they can't see themselves doing it for the rest of their life.
No, definitely not. Which we're fortunate to have.
Yeah. And I understand not everyone can be in that fortunate position, but I'd urge everyone to, if you are thinking about, jumping ships, changing jobs, whatever it is, into a passion that you actually love, I guarantee you'll probably be more successful in that passion because, again, it just gives you endless. You're obsessed with it, so it's endless energy, and this energy comes out of nowhere. I am genuinely, if you take fitness out of my life and you take the stuff that I'm interested out of my life, I am the laziest person in the world. I'm not doing anything else, and genuinely, I'm so lazy. But as soon as you have a passion for something, it just gives you this, like, just fuel.
Totally.
It's free energy.
Fires you up.
Yeah, it's like endless amount of calories. That's what it's like. Bring it back to food.
Like that. I like that.
And on that, I think we should end. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, it's been really cool to I just say, for those who don't get to know you at like the level I'm fortunate to know is like, I think it really is important for people to understand is you as a human are a great human, like you really are. And as I said earlier, you've got amazing people around you in your support network who are great people themselves. But you are someone who is so grateful for every moment. And so if people just like the Instagram post or they watch a YouTube video and think like, I'm liking this guy because of what he does. He's also an unbelievable individual aside from what he does. And I think we don't get to know that a lot, obviously, sometimes with what we do. It's something until you meet someone. But I just want to share that so people can genuinely understand, like, oh, what it's like to, like, what's Jake like? And it's like, well, Jake's genuinely just another awesome bloke, and he's exactly what you wish him to be. So good on you, dude. Seriously.
You made me blush. No, that means a lot.
Of course,
that genuinely does. And I appreciate all the guidance you give me. Even just checking in, like I say, I'm shit on my phone. You're great on your phone. You check in all the time with me, and it's nothing to do with work. It's nothing to do with us meeting up. It's just you genuinely care about the people around you, and that's one thing that I'll learn from you. And I appreciate, like, you've said how important your network is around you and the people that you spend time with. Again, like, who wants to do this shit alone? Who wants to do life on their own? Like, it's not where you go, it's the people you go with. And if you can have fun with other people and look after other people, why wouldn't you? And that's cool. But thank you. I'm grateful to have learned that from you.
Appreciate it, bro. Back at you.